Hello, hi, and welcome to another episode of Conversations in the Den. Um, Made a few changes in my office, but anyhow, today we're here to discuss living with fibromyalgia with Tanya Reed. Tanya is like a baby sister to me. I grew up with her since we were little children in my parents' church.
Yes, ma'am.
And Tanya has a gift of singing that we hope we can give you a little taste of today that I believe assists her as she struggles with this ailment, this autoimmune disease. Okay, so Tanya, can you tell us a little bit about fibromyalgia?
Okay, fibromyalgia is one of the weirdest things out there at this point. There are so many different thought processes on how fibromyalgia works, if it actually exists at all. There is a growing number of the medical community members that are actually believing in fibromyalgia, and then there are ones that don't. Fibromyalgia is basically autoimmune disease that attacks your nerves, and it just wreaks havoc in so many different ways for so many different people. For me personally, it is basically, it's like my body's on fire. It's numb. There are strange things that happen all over the place, and it's hard to predict. Flare-ups can be anything from just a pain in the hip to a full body shutdown, and it goes so far beyond that. But it's one of those things where they don't have really a cure for it. They're still trying to play with the medications that you can utilize to be able to help with.
Okay, can I ask you? Sorry, can I ask you a question?
Mhm.
So, what was it that brought you in to get a diagnosis? Like, what were your initial symptoms?
My initial symptoms were a little bit unlike other people. I had a very, very sudden onset of symptoms, very, very suddenly. One night I went to bed. We went to um, my mom's celebration at church, and then I drove from Hamilton to Ajax for a stag and doe party for my stepson. And then I got back home and went to bed, and the next morning I couldn't lift my head. I couldn't actually get out of bed. I couldn't actually move without grabbing my
Now,
head.
were you feeling pain at that time?
Severe pain. It felt like a stroke and a heart attack all thrown together. It felt like my body was shooting fireworks. It was crazy. And I'm the kind of person, I've got a high tolerance of pain. So I kind of tried to ignore and had my hubby and my son help me around that day. Most of it was sitting down, but it was excessively painful. And stupid me, instead of going to the doctor or the hospital the next day, it was a Sunday, and the next day, instead of going to the doctor or the hospital, I took the morning off of work.
Again, ladies, I will again say self-care is extremely important, and we need to try to put ourselves first. And when we experience pain and different challenges in our body's speaking to us, it's telling us something. So we
Absolutely.
really need to listen and go and get ourselves checked out.
Absolutely. And that's sadly not something that I did right away. In fact, I went to work that afternoon, got sent home, and then I went.
Oh, you went to work?
Yes, I went to work. I am a you don't understand me. I'm of the mind, I'm always going to be in pain, go for it. And so I went to work and they sent me home. I went to a midterm because I had started back to school. I went to a midterm and they sent me home.
But you went to work and school.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I showed up at Sheridan College and they said, yeah, no, you're not taking this exam. And that was actually the last day I was physically in the school as a student or as a regular student. And that was October the 31st of 2016.
Okay.
So I went to work, I went to school, and then the next day I stayed home. And the following day after that, I called my son from school and I asked him, can you come home and drive me to the hospital? And they thought everything from multiple sclerosis to cauda equina to all kinds of different things. They said I had to go for
Yes, I've heard it's very hard to diagnose.
it is. It really is. And in fact, it took me a year and 4 months to diagnose me. Um, Interestingly enough, I was going through another a cancer scare at the time, and a lot of the doctors and specialists that I saw were the ones that said to me, "Listen, it sounds like fibro," and I happened to have a very, very good doctor who said, "You know what? I'm sending you to a rheumatologist. You're going to get checked out." And they diagnosed me with 12 of the 12 markers for fibromyalgia at the time. So they said, yeah, you have it. I will, sorry, that was my son. He never sends me a message. We just
That's
dropped
what
him off.
happens when you least expect.
Don't even get me started. We just dropped him off at University of Ottawa on Saturday. And so I wasn't ready. Don't even get me started on that one. But yeah, I had a lot of doctors and specialists that were very, very instrumental in making sure that, yes, you have it. I will completely support a disability claim for you. And I had that right
Okay,
down.
but okay, we understand about the disability claim, but can we get the diagnosis?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So,
It took, in fact, I had my disability go through before I actually had the full on diagnosis of the
okay.
fibromyalgia. So it worked out different for me, but it's only because of the severe onset of the symptoms. And the symptoms.
Okay, so where exactly were you feeling the pain? Because from what I read,
Mhm.
it really hits your large muscle groups.
It hits large muscle groups, but what it hits more than anything else is your nerves. Your nerves in every single aspect of your body. There are days that just to brush up, just have clothing brush up against my skin is the most horrific thing in the entire world. Trying to walk when the nerves on the bottom of your feet are so thoroughly engaged,
Ooh.
it's beyond anything. When you're walking and suddenly your hips lock up, it's just all is encompassing. So for different people, it's just the muscles. For
Yeah, now
different people, it's
I
just
remember when I was living in Windsor when I worked at the university there.
the,
I remember meeting a woman and she told me that her diet had to change.
yes, yes.
She was diagnosed.
I've been messing with my diet for quite some time now. It's been 2 years. Um, so yeah, it's been 2 years, and so I've been messing around with my diet for a while now, but mostly since 2 years. Hold on, it's been 4 years. It's been 2 years since I went
Yeah,
back
it
to
is
work.
4 years.
Oh my gosh, holy poo! That's the other thing. Brain fog sucks. Ooh, when your brain says, "Yeah, I don't really want to talk to you right now, and I don't want you to talk to others." You kind of got to listen and fight through, and it's sad. But that's one of the things that really messed with me when I started
Yes,
on this.
the brain is the common denominator of all the topics we have spoke about
Mm-hmm.
in through the last month has been really all linked to brain, from
Yes.
stroke to multiple sclerosis.
Yep.
It's all neurological, and
Absolutely.
it's I have to kind of sometimes wonder, is it the food we're eating, is it things in the environment,
Mm-hmm.
is it just our stress?
It's
I
a
just
number.
wonder because I
Mhm.
mean all of these things are all linked to the brain.
Yep, it's a number of factors, and interestingly enough,
Martin's brain aneurysm. I mean, like it's like
I
a
I watched
ongoing
that.
cycle of brain related issues.
Absolutely,
And that was
absolutely.
not our intent. Our intent
Hmm.
was really just to talk about things that people are experiencing, young people,
Yep,
and
yep.
it all kind of has come around in this
Around
full
to
circle of brain.
absolutely, absolutely that brain is an
We
incredible.
might have to change this to conversations in the brain. I don't know.
Don't even get me started. It's
But
it's
anyways, because we don't want to take up too much time, I wanted
yes,
to
ma'am.
give you an opportunity to share your really beautiful talent with
Oh,
us.
thank you. Okay,
So
so
if you could do
um,
that for us, that would be wonderful.
I thought about this a lot. And my father's gone through a stroke, and one of his first songs that he really sang in the church was one of my favorites. And I figured that's the one I will do for you, because I just love to hear him sing it. So here we go.
Okay.
If I could find the right words to say to tell you just what Christ means to me. Say why he's more than I could show, and more than you ever know. Oh, Christ means more to me than you ever know. Christ means more to me than I could possibly show. He's more than I could show, and he's more than you'll ever know. Now, if
Now I
you
remember seeing videos of you in your hospital bed singing.
oh boy.
Was that was that something that really assisted in your getting your mind off of the pain or off of the
It,
challenges you were going through at the time?
music is a very, very cathartic thing for me. And I was hit by a bus back in 1995. They say that some of that might be because the reason why I'm going through
So
what I
being hit
do.
by the bus, was that a part of what started this whole process?
They said that a lot of the trauma that I've gone through, I was a gymnast. I jammed my back so severely that I fused several of my vertebrae when I
Oh, you
was.
forgot to mention about getting hit by a bus.
Oh, yeah, I got all kind of things going on.
So long
But
ago
they,
you forgot, huh?
all of that, well, all of those things are who I am, and I kind of forget it in the wide scheme of things. So, but it's just one of the things that they say that trauma it gets to you. And each of those situations either resulted in some kind of bone situation or concussion. And I've had several concussions.
Now,
So
oh, okay.
yeah, it kind of sucks. Being hit by the bus, I was hit full
And
on.
it is my understanding that you went back to work this year
I went
or,
back to work
or last year.
last year, actually 2018. It was November, so it was 2 years, 19 days, and 23 hours after I stopped working. And
Okay.
I've
And how
decided to,
was that immersing yourself back into that with all the pain you were going through?
well, I was doing it part time. It sucked, but I work with children and they are the best medicine for me. I cannot tell you. So now this year, I've decided to come off disability fully and go full time.
I think we're
And
all off this year.
I know, well, no, you know what? I'm very much blessed because I think that everybody is still in some kind of support in some way, shape, or form. But I'm coming off completely because I can't stop moving. It sucks. There are days that
Yeah.
moving, it makes you want to just dig a hole and fall in. And then you think, when I get to school, I'm going to see those children. And that is the best thing for me. That and music have gotten me through in ways I can't even describe. And so I'm very, very blessed in that way. I got to thank God because if I didn't have those, I honestly don't know what I'd do. My family have been so supportive. Um, and that those children and that music, it's something else for me. It truly is.
Well, what kind of medications are you taking?
Ah.
I actually spoke to another individual with fibromyalgia who said
Mhm.
that they were on CBD oil.
I tried all of that
Oh,
and
did you?
nothing works. I did not want to try it. And every single one of my doctors said, you need to try it. Even my cardiologist said, I want you to try it. I want you to try it. And so I
Hmm.
tried it. I tried all of it and nothing worked. I tried everything from the epidural shots in my back all the way down to a thing called the Butrans patch. And if you look up the Butrans patch, very, very heavy doses of medication directly put on your skin, transdermal, that stays on for 7 days. And
Yes, I remember when I had my launch party for my event management business.
yes, ma'am.
You were wearing a patch.
I was wearing that patch. Yep, I was wearing, and I just gone through the surgery. I had my hysterectomy done, so yeah, that's what kind of pain I can deal with. but yeah, it's one of those things that it stopped working after 6 weeks. It didn't work anymore. So after a while, I just gave up medication, and so for 2 years, I've been medication free.
Okay, what about have you ever tried using black seed oil?
Black seed oil. I have never heard of this. Black seed oil. What is that?
Okay, black seed oil is something that when I was in the hospital, an African woman came. She was from Sierra Leone, and she came and she started rubbing me down with this black seed oil.
Okay.
And well, Ruth was there, and she was like, "Don't let that woman rub that stuff on you. You don't know what that is," But ultimately, in speaking with a friend of mine who I ended up finding out had multiple sclerosis, right. She said that she actually ingested it. Oh. So I started just taking like a drop of it underneath my tongue.
Mm-hmm. Has it helped?
And no, that was in the beginning.
Oh, in the beginning.
Since then, I've had Botox. I've been on all kinds of medications. But I'm doing quite well, actually.
I'm glad.
I find exercise. Do you find exercise helps at all, or does it just cause more pain?
No, I see. It's hit and miss, because in a flare up time, there's nothing I can do. In a time that I'm not in flare up, it can cause flare up. So I was afraid for a very long time until I went to see an osteopath. And they teach you how to move. That's the thing. That's the difference between an osteopath and a chiropractor. Osteopaths will look at your whole body and your movement. And that was one of the best things I've ever done in my life, because that was when I started walking like a normal human being, and that made my day. There are days that I still look like Granny Maloney walking, trying to trudge along. I've got a cane. I refuse to use it. I just can't.
Well, I can't. We have to take each day one day at a time.
Mm-hmm. All day. Don't forget, tell your friends. But yeah, it's one of those things where there are days that exercise doesn't work, and there are days when I can do it. I'm gonna do it. Hot Epsom salts baths, topical medications, massage. Very, very helpful for me. Medications never worked for me, and so I have to stay away from them. But yeah, I've always been that person that medications never worked for. So after my surgery, I took their medications for 2 days, and then I said, yeah, no. And so I was walking.
What kind of surgery did you have?
I had a hysterectomy. I had precancerous cells. So I had a complete, not complete, still have my ovaries, but I had that. And then the next morning, actually that evening after my hysterectomy, I was at my son's soccer game. Yeah. And then
still going out, eh?
And then the next day I was at my pain clinic, sitting cross-legged on the table, getting the shots down my back. And then
my God.
Later, I was singing for you at your launch party.
Yeah. You're sucker for pain, huh?
You know what? If you're gonna have it anyway, so I might as well come and do it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that with all my heart. So
and you were wonderful.
Oh, God bless you. God bless you.
Except for the part where you forgot the words.
I did that. I did that. Thank you. I did that. That's that fibro fog.
Yes, no, I understand.
And you know what? I'll play it off. That's all right, because I'm a big enough person to know, I made a mistake. But you know what? I'm still smiling, and I'm not going to start freaking out because of it. There are some people that will have.
Well, I think that we were all like in shock that you up there with your pain patch on, and and you sounded so beautiful. Like it was amazing.
I couldn't even sing out because I still had these 5 holes in my stomach that were brand spanking new. And I had
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy. But you know what? It's all good. You only live once and you got to live it all. So you just
Mm-hmm.
keep going.
Yeah, we do
Oh, and
have
I
to. We
see you
do.
doing it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of everything that you're doing. You don't see a roadblock. You see a hurdle I need to jump over. And if I have to knock the hurdle down and I'm going to crawl over it, that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to get over that hurdle. And I'm proud of you. I am
Yeah,
so.
you have to. You have to have the determination. You have to motivate yourself. You have to
Mm-hmm,
inspire others. It's just a
mm-hmm.
part of, who we are as people
Absolutely.
and as Christians.
Oh,
And I
damn.
don't really label myself a Christian.
Mm-hmm,
I'm not really a church goer,
mm-hmm.
but I grew up in the church and I have full
Damn.
faith in the Almighty. And
Yes,
I
ma'am.
know that He has always been there for me. And He has
Oh,
been
yeah.
there for me through all kinds of challenges in my life.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so I can't but say, I use the word Christian so people will
Mm-hmm.
understand that I have a love for God, that
Yes,
I have a
ma'am.
relationship with God.
Yes, ma'am.
And my relationship with God has nothing to do with church.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with me and Him. That's my homeboy.
You understand me because doesn't matter who's going to tell me what God can't do or what you can tell anybody else that you can't tell me. I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for God. And I'm going to tell you one other thing, if you don't mind. Um, when I went back to school full time. When I said to disability I want to come off, they said you were going to school before you got sick. Do you want to go back? And it's like, I can't afford it. Well, no, we'll pay for it. And they paid for it. They paid for the laptop I'm talking on. They paid for
Yeah,
all of
this
it.
is what happens.
Don't even get me started. The Voc Rehab rehabilitation program, God bless them. And I'm telling you, she put me back in full time, and I was going full time, going to work, taking care of my elderly parents in Hamilton. I live in Mississauga. It was crazy. My daddy burned his face off. My mom was in the hospital. 2 weeks later, my daddy was in the hospital. They both had surgery. I was going crazy on nonstop. And there I made it to school every single day. And one day I texted my teacher and I said, you know what, I'm going to be a little late because it's a real hard time getting out of bed today, but I'm going to be there. And I tell you, I got there and she's in the hallway and she walks up to me and she taps me on the shoulder and she says, Tanya, I want to talk to you. And I thought, oh my gosh, what kind of troubles am I in? And she says, no, Tanya, I want to tell you, I was thinking about you hard today. She said, I I had a really bad day this morning. I was getting ready to go out. My dog went out to go do his business, came back in, had been sprayed by a skunk, jumped up on me,
Oh
and
boy,
I smelled
yes.
like high heaven. You could
A
smell it
girlfriend of
too.
mine has had that experience.
And she was getting ready to go out, and she to go out to teach us, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't go. I can't go." And then
Well,
she
no,
said,
because you smell like skunk.
"Yeah," and she said, "Hold up. If Tanya can do it, I can do it." Burst into tears. Oh my gosh. Okay. Burst into tears. And she said, you go through so much every day and somehow you figure out how to show up. And I can't let a little skunk stop me. So she ran through the shower, put on stuff, hair out to here, coming into work, coming to teach us.
Take a shower in some tomato sauce or
Oh,
something.
she got none of that. That very afternoon, one of my kids came up to me in class and said to me, Miss Tanya, I'm not having such a good day today. And I said, what's the matter, Boo? And I hugged. Back in those days, you could hug. And I said, what's the matter, Boo? I've had a headache all day. And I went to the office. They sent me to the office and I called my mom and she says, okay, I'm coming to get you. And I started walking down the hall and I turned back around and called back mom and I said, don't bother. If Miss Tanya can do it.
Tanya, can I just ask you to speak a little bit louder, please?
Yes, ma'am. She said, the same
Ma'am?
day, that same day, that little girl told me, if Miss Tanya can make it through, I can make it through. And her mama told her, listen, if you feel worse, you let me know. You call me, I'll come right for you. And she was there at the end of school day. Come tell me this. And I said, do you want me to come and call your mom? She says, yeah, I think it's time. She stuck it out that whole day. And so you know what? It some of the things that we're going through and that we're struggling through, the struggle is part of the piece of the puzzle that is for other people. 7 minutes.
Well, absolutely, absolutely.
The
It's a
piece
part
of
of
the
our
puzzle
purpose.
Other people need to see what you can do in your struggle to be able to make it through
You know,
what
it's
they are
amazing.
struggling with.
Sometimes there's some days when I'm walking around around where I live,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
strangers are stopping me, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I remember when you were in a wheelchair." Now I don't know these people, but they noticed me,
Yes, ma'am.
and I'm like, wow. You know, I have people in my build in the condo.
Yep.
You know, they're like, "Gosh, you've come so far."
Yep.
This one girl, she said to me, I was thinking about whether or not she had at one point, I guess she said she was 300 pounds. I didn't see her at 300 pounds,
Yes, ma'am.
but she had gone into weightlifting and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and that had caused her to get her body down. And she
Yes.
said, when I watch you work out every day down that hallway, walking and
Mm-hmm.
lunging and
Mm-hmm.
sidestepping and doing all
Mm-hmm.
the things that you do, she
Yep.
said, you've inspired me to go back to bodybuilding.
See,
You know, and I mean, all we can do is be an inspiration to
you just
other
do.
mothers, other people
Yep.
in the world, because everybody has a struggle.
Yes, ma'am.
And
It's
right
true.
now we are all having a struggle,
Yep.
both mentally and physically.
Yep.
And so the only thing that we could do, the only thing I could think to do was to do this podcast to share all of our stories with the
Yes,
rest
ma'am.
of the world so that um, other people can see that you can get past things.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
and one thing I always forget to say at the
Mm-hmm.
end of every one of these podcasts is we
Mm-hmm.
are on YouTube at Conversations in the Den.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would like to tune into our episodes every week, you can just subscribe and press the bell to get our new episodes, because our episodes are downloaded every Friday or Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Tanya, God bless you.
God bless
My
you, Leah.
sister, um,
Thank you for having me. God
oh,
bless
you're
you.
welcome. And we will also be having another woman living with fibromyalgia next month,
Okay.
who I believe is a bodybuilder. I'm
Oh,
not quite sure.
yes, ma'am.
But she will be, maybe she can give, you know, if Alicia,
Yeah.
if you could tell
So
me about your the girl that has fibromyalgia, the other girl.
yeah, so on September the 9th, so 2 weeks from now, we have Rebecca Tobe, who is a CrossFit competitor. She also suffers with fibromyalgia and uses CrossFit as a way to overcome it. So she has an incredible story. She's now a nonprofit director and founder of the Lost organization in Hamilton, which helps folks with their mental health. And she shares a lot of her lived experience with fibro as well, and overcoming it with like things like diet and exercise, which is really huge for her as well.
Yeah, so maybe, quite possibly, you may be able to get a little bit of, you know, maybe some ideas,
Mm-hmm.
ideas from her, how she deals with the challenges that you're dealing with.
Yes, ma'am.
And
I
that's
will
what this
be
is all about.
I will have to
Um,
be watching afterwards because I'll be going back to work by
oh,
that
no, that's
time.
no problem.
But I will be watching. I watched through your podcasts and I was like, okay, liked and subscribed, commented below. But yeah,
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
I really am intrigued by what's going on here, and I am going to be sharing this. I'm going to be sharing what you guys are doing because it's necessary. It really is. People need to know that they're supported. People need to know that there are others out
Oh,
there that
yes.
are going
And we
through
have
this.
to support each other. You know, we are our
Absolutely.
sister's keeper. We
All
are
day,
our
half
brother's
the night.
keeper.
Don't
And
forget,
we
tell your
have
friends.
to keep sharing all of our stories so that
Mm-hmm.
we can encourage other people, our brothers and our sisters,
Yes, ma'am.
and strangers, and our neighbors,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
all the people that we meet along the way.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
people ask me all the time because they think I'm so young. So they always say,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, were you in a car accident?
Mm-hmm.
You know, did you sprain your ankle?"
Mm-hmm.
Because I limp a little,
Mm-hmm.
but I told them no, I had a stroke, and they're like,
You had
wow,
a what?
exactly, you're too
I
young to
know.
have a stroke.
I
But I
know.
tell them all the time, like, stroke has no age.
Has nothing.
There are not too many ailments that have ages.
Absolutely.
I would say, if I was going to say anything has an age, I would say maybe phase two, diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Usually happens in your 60s. But
Yeah.
for most other things, I mean, you could be in a car accident tomorrow. You have a traumatic brain injury.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in life.
Yup.
We just have to figure out how to get past it.
Yup.
Past the initial trauma and past all of the mental part of it and the struggle, and just try to keep living and finding a way to live our best life,
Absolutely.
regardless.
Absolutely.
So it was
Absolutely.
wonderful talking to you, Tanya.
Great talking to
Look
you
forward
too.
to talking to you again soon.
Absolutely. Hold up. Hold up. You got that right. You got that right. You got that
That's
right.
nice.
All right. I'm
That's
just going to
beautiful,
put that
honey.
out there. Just going to put that out there. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
Amen. God bless you guys.
All
Cheers.
right, you
Thank
too.
you so much for having me. And I will be supporting you guys as usual. God bless you.
All right, thank you. And
Take
God
care.
bless.
God bless.
And you
Bye-bye.
stay safe.
Oh, you too, boo. You too. God bless you all.